student, we use these protocols, methods now, but more with bacteria. And my question is, what were the problems in cloning but Dolly? So years ago, what was the biggest problem, and how did you solve it?
Well, the biggest problem in cloning Dolly was the fact that as certain scientists had published that cloning from a somatic cell was never going to be possible, no one would give you any money to do the experiments. So we solved it by lying. Well, no, creative. I would say. Well, not Dolly. The first animals we produced, the Megan and Morag. Everybody then was saying, well, it's not going to work, so you need to get an embryonic stem cell, and it will work. But we managed to do the experiments by saying that we would, rather than try and make embryonic stem cells, we would follow the loss of developmental potential of cells when they were put into culture. So cells from the inner cell mass in the embryo we knew would work. So we did the experiment sort of backwards. And we managed to get development. So then people gave us some money to see if we could do it. The company, PPL Therapeutics, gave us some money to try and do it with their cells, because I'd convinced them by this point that it would work with adult cells. But so a lot of it is a lot of science and breakthroughs in science and going forward is down to, in my opinion, fads at the time. And I'm a great supporter of just basic science and giving people money to do basic science rather than targeted science. Both need to be done, but I think we need to do basic science, and that's where the breakthroughs come from. So technically, well, we just had to do all the protocols again, basically. We just had to re-understand every step, more or less, of the whole process.
Dobrze, i ostatnie pytanie tutaj z sali. Wszystkie Państwa pytania proszę zatrzymać na sobotę i koniecznie przyjść o godzinie 11:30 i spotkać się z profesorem oko w oko i zwyczajnie porozmawiać na wszystkie wątpliwości, jakie się ma.
Katarzyna Inowolska. Well, I want to ask one question. How could you imitate a natural environment for animals which you are making experiments at or on or about?
So you mean where do my clones?
For example, wolf. Well, I think it's not fair play for wolves if they don't, for animals, if they are, if they live in cages, especially wolf, which is a wild animal and lives in a special group and needs a lot of space.
Well, let me just put it in context of my sheep and things. They all live just as any other sheep do. They have a nice field and a nice bed in the summer, and in the winter they get a nice warm barn to sleep in. Now, there are lots of, I mean, the objective of any project of cloning wolves or rare and endangered species would be to release them back to the wild, apart from the ones I mentioned in zoos, where the zoo is just going to maintain them in the zoo scenario. So that's a different question. I don't think that's one for the person doing the cloning. That's one for the person that's actually wanting the cloning done. I mean, there are wolves being released into the wild all over the place, and people aren't very happy about it in certain places, and they're out shooting them. But so I think whether we want to preserve species or whether we want to return them to the wild, I think we're talking different questions here. I'd like them returned to the wild, but then again, I don't want to walk down the road and find, some wolf eating my sheep, So I think, we have that's a different sort of question.
Dziękuję bardzo. Cóż, profesorowi Malińskiemu niestety nie możemy odmówić. Trudno panu odmówić. Bardzo proszę.
Maybe you can able to solve the problem we had last year with Dolly. Do you know how old is the oldest living sheep cloned from somatic cell?
At the moment, well,
at the moment, yeah, because we try to find the data, but
one of the from a somatic cell taken from an adult.
Sorry?
From an adult.
From an adult, yeah. Not fetal cells, not...
I don't know. Mine, the oldest ones I've got are 5 years.
Yes, okay.
But that's not because they died. It's because they're the oldest ones I've made. Apart from Dolly, who did die, but died of something else. And we only made one in the first instance. After that, the majority of work was done with fetal cells.
Fetal cells, yeah, I know.
And, you know, the embryonic cells we used, although they were differentiated, one of those sheep lived to 13 years. So, people say to me, I've got about a dozen cloned sheep at the moment. People say, well, what are you doing to them? And I say, well, nothing. Well, why are you keeping them? I said, I just want to see how long they live. And so they've got a great life, you know. They've got a nice field in the summer and a nice barn in the winter, and we'll just see how old they go. Dolly's going to be 5 this year.
How old they are? 4 years?
They'll be 5 in July.
Oh, 5 in July, yeah, okay. Thanks.
Dobrze, i to na tyle na dzisiaj.